Hey, what's up everyone? How's it going? Today is Saturday, April 16th, 2022. How's it going? Hope you're all having a good weekend. Now, I'm going to get into some more, someone put it this way, Mythbusters, graffiti Mythbusters. I forget who you are in the comments, but that's brilliant. And I'm thinking about that, doing like a Monday graffiti Mythbusters with RD357. Because, yeah, if I know something about it, I'll explain it to you to the best of my knowledge. Yeah, I have no problem with that. I just got to see how much content's out there before I actually agree to it. But, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, definitely. Like, maybe I might not have enough information for every Monday. That's the only problem. But as far as it goes with me with content, yeah, I could spit on and on and on. But as much as it goes with lies on the computer, there's a lot of them, believe me. And the only downfall with that is I have beef with everyone, as I've explained in the year throughout my podcast. Like, I literally have beef with the whole 5 boroughs. Like, yeah, if you want with me or against me, man. And that would make it so all the people that I'm discussing, oh yeah, Robert's just hating because he didn't like that guy. But I honestly give props where they're due, and it just so happens that I didn't get along with anyone. So everyone that's, you know, I could even myth bust myself. Yeah, I could even tell you things that where I've seen pictures of things that aren't true with me. Yeah. There's one photograph out there. Yeah, it says the bad old days. The photograph was taken in 1984, but that's impossible because it says RD357, which wasn't created until 85. So yeah. But I'm going to do that. Mythbusters Monday. I just really got to make sure it's something that I can actually do every Monday before I go saying Mythbusters Monday, you know? But Graffiti Mythbusters Monday. It's a great idea. I love it, man. A lot of content. I mean, I get content now. I don't think I got to just think about shit off the top of my head. You know, the situations that occurred and times. And plus with you people commenting on things you'd like me to talk about. Yeah, I'm set. But that would be cool, man. I think that's a funny one, man. And actually, this particular podcast today that I'm doing kind of fall under that. Like, if you think of, or just, as a matter of fact, I'll give you some homework assignment. If you Google New York City top graffiti vandals of all times, or anything in that area, just straight up New York City graffiti artists, New York City graffiti bombers, New York City graffiti, any way you cut it, any list that you try to print up about the top vandals or the top graffiti artists or the top, any list like that, you will not see RD357 on any of them fucking lists. Now, with that said, I just sat here for over a year now explaining my whole history of like 40 fucking years of writing graffiti. And there's still so much more. There's like little tales and stories and shit that's happened so much more in between all that. I could go on and on and on. It's out there every day for years, longer than any other human being. So I could do it and go on and on and on. But if you look at those lists, it's nowhere. I'm nowhere to be found on any of them lists. And these are, how you would say it's like a verified sites would be the term. Like, these aren't just like some little 10-year-old in Ohio that's like, who's his favorite graffiti writer. You know, these are people that are honestly trying to set out and discover, you know, the top vandals and this and that. And I'm not on any of them lists. These are big-time graffiti websites, or any way, shape, or form you cut it, you will not see RD357 on a list. Now, as I've told you in the past, me, Robert Dyer, have wrote graffiti illegally straight on through longer than any other human being on the face of this earth. I never King Manhattan. No. That's J.A., Easy, and Costin. Not me. Never. I mean, as far as it goes with all 5 boroughs, never did that. I only stuck to Manhattan. I think I said that reverse, right? But you get what I'm saying, right? Alright, let me put it this way. You guys pretty much could assume, if you're here watching me, you probably watched all these movies, these Style Wars and this and that. you're probably into it. You probably got a bunch of books in your house and stuff. Now, if you look at any one of those graffiti writers from Style Wars, the movie Style Wars, look at any one of them, their average life expectancy, like the careers of a graffiti writer on a subway, not their life that they die, but they normally quit after about 7 to 8 years. Now, I, me, myself, Robert Dyer, I had an 8-year graffiti run on the MTA before even kicking it up to the streets for another 30-something years. For real, true story. Now, an 8-year run on the MTA subways is an average run. You think about it, I don't even think Scheme from Style Wars did 8 years on writing graffiti on the subways. Dez didn't. Min, he conked out at about 9 years. Almost pushed into 10 years. But no, I've actually had that conversation with Min. So many, a Futura, so many of these fucking people. I mean, it'd be easier to mention the people that went longer, like Comet, you know, TC5, Comet, Part TDS, Is the Wiz. I mean, yeah, Blade would even fit in there with Comet. He went for a long while, but Comet came back out and kept going. But yeah, no, there's a small handful of people that put in more than that. So honestly, what I'm saying here is, I've had your average length of a graffiti career on the subways, on the MTA New York City subways. The average career. Now, within them 8 years, I've done more whole cars than maybe 80-something% of the graffiti writers, including some of the people that were even in Style Wars, the movies and stuff. I, me, Robert Dyer, have done more whole cars than most of those people, like 80-something, maybe 90% of your average New York City graffiti street writers or subway writers or whatever the fuck. I've done about more whole cars than like 80-something% of those people. You think about it, like Zephyr, Revolt, I've done more whole cars than them. They might have teamed up and did little collaborations with each other and spread the spray paint, but I'm talking about you sit down and it just says your name, boom, across the whole side of the fucking car, end to end, top to fucking bottom. Yeah, I've done more than that. Like Futura, I've done more than him. I've done more than, like I said, 85% of these people. I've done more whole cars, that is. I've done my share of them sides. I've done probably in the 40% range when it comes to insides, 50% range, because you had some real fucking mad motherfuckers out there that were really tearing up the insides, man. You know, you had like Ren, you know, Renegade Renard, my boy Renard. You had Crook. You had so many different people, like Masks, just all of Brooklyn, Queens. You had a bunch of dudes that were tearing up insides. Harlem, all my people, yeah. Fucking everyone. So the insides was a little trickier of a game because you had a lot of people out there setting it up. So I don't think I'm really, I mean, yeah, all right, I got the sixes real good. I kinged the sixes the last 4 years of their life. Yeah, that's my little lapel, clip on my lapel. But other than that, then some fill-ins. I did about 1.5 years of fill-ins. So what I'm trying to say is this is all even before I climbed up into the streets. I've had a good reputation and a good running graffiti career underground. And I came up in the streets and, yo, I've been the king of Manhattan Island for like 30-something fucking years. 30-something years. I mean, there might have been a couple of people that slipped up in between here and there, but I've been constant until like my arrest. I mean, even a couple of years before my arrest, I started falling off a little bit. I kind of focused too much on them stupid fucking fire hydrants, which winded up being my downfall in the end. But with all that fucking said, man, not to mention I've like went to war with the whole fucking city and still been up more than them. And even on the subways I did that and was still up more than all of them. Then on the streets, because it came up when the subways got clean, I still had beef with these people. And on the streets, the beef picked up. And I've had beef with the whole fucking city. Yeah, the whole fucking city. Coming down on me, and I'm coming down on them, tearing shit up. And I'm not named at all on any of them fucking computer website lists. Like, as far as it goes with, like, an archival, like, proof of existence or something like that, there's, like, no sign of me at all. You know, I'm not lying, man, as crazy as that shit sounds. So I actually, you know, I was looking through these lists and stuff. I printed them up at work. And I'm not supposed to do that. But I honestly forget them at work. I left them at work, and here it is Saturday. I'm sitting in my fucking house here. And I figured, what's the use of showing you guys lists that don't have me on them? You know, the interesting thing is who they do have on these lists. And that's a cracker, bro. That's some fucking, yo, that shit cracked me up, man. You got people on there like SP1, BFB. And, like, I mean, honestly, what'd that guy do? Like, he wrote her a couple of mailboxes. He's like, Gano did more graffiti than him. And Gano's on the list. Yeah. But, yeah, like SP, I remember like 88, 89, or maybe, yeah, like right before I got married, moved to the Bronx, they were crossing me out with like little silver pens, like these things, but real small and skinny, that little silver pens, yeah, they were crossing me out with those fucking things on mailboxes. Never saw nothing else up with them. You know what it is, you know, I guess he's plugged in with these people, and, the same reason you never heard of me. He plugged in with those people. But if you really sit down and think about it, he never did nothing. And you know what he does nowadays? He does like these, he does old style graffiti, like from the 70s and stuff like that. Like that style of bubble letters. And he uses those colors because early on you didn't have all the fruity flavors and shit like that you got now. So he stuck to the basics, yellows, reds, blue, you know what I mean? Kept it simple. And, you know, like if you look at an old Tracy piece or a Peanut piece or something like that, it's like dominantly white, red, like a basic red, a basic blue, a basic yellow, you know, there was no, like, off-tones and stuff like that. And that's what he sticks with. And, I don't know, some people think he's been around forever or something like that, but no, that's not the truth. Who else? I don't want to just sit here hashing on him because I actually had beef with that dude. I mean, it's never been squashed or anything, but, you know, I don't want to sit here like I'm ragging on him because I've had problems with him, but like I've just explained, I've had problems with everybody, so any way you put it, it's going to look like I'm hating. I could actually myth bust on myself like I just explained before. But, I'm trying to think who else is on the list. Smo or Smoo, S-M-O-E? Yeah, Smoo or something like that. And you got a guy, Dak. But I don't think that's Dak from the subways. That's like, it couldn't be. Like, how could he get worse? You know what I mean? Like, there was a Dak on the subways that was pretty good. Now there's a Dak that's running around that sucks. And he's on the list a lot of the time. Of course, J.A.'s on all the lists. And, I mean, rightfully so. Yeah, I've explained. He's King New York, man. He's done it, man. He definitely did. I'd say he did it harder than anyone. Yeah. As far as just the fact with the fill-ins. But I still, honestly, in my heart and soul, Easy and them definitely did a lot more. Like, they went down every single street and every single block and every single fucking borough. At least it seemed that way to me. Everywhere I went, it was Easy and a Jaws tag. So they definitely got that shit. Easy, Jaws, TK. But B&JA did fill-ins, and you got to take into consideration that a fill-in does take longer. And it's kind of like maybe 10, 20 tags if you do one fill-in. If you want to look at it that way, you could technically. So yeah, you got to give it to JA in that sense, you know. But I've explained before, cost really ain't far behind. Like, yeah, if cost came out tomorrow, he could outdo JA, just one swap. Yeah, it's like they're really neck and neck. But I give it to JA. Like I said, and I don't like JA. I haven't spoken to Cost since 2007. I got no reason to big up him or anything. Cost is, you know, he's a very efficient writer. He's one of my favorite graffiti writers of all time, Cost. Probably the most. Like, not to talk about style or anything like that, but the way he held himself and everything, yeah, he kept, you know, he never let the small shit bother him, you know. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not going to sit here going through all that shit. But, alright, now I'm just trying to think who else is on the list. Cost was on some of them lists, which, like I just said, rightfully so. Revs was on them, but I don't really agree with that. I'm sorry. Yeah, I understand he ran around with all the wheat paste things with Cost, but I don't know. What do you do? Like, you know, I really never really rocked hard on those subway lines and nothing like that, you know. He did hit subways. He did a couple fucking, you know, I did pictures of top to bottoms, under the windows, stuff like that. I remember seeing him up. I was around, but it's nothing to write home to mom about. But then again, like, at least I heard of the fucking guy. Like, you got people, like I said, the Smo guy. I don't know. I do believe compensating with him at one point or another in my life. Either it was online or maybe he actually came over my house or something. But yeah, you got like someone like him, Noshk. some, like, just, yo, I swear. I'm like, we're talking about New York, like Manhattan, right? Like, I'm thinking maybe in Kosovo or something, there's like another New York, Manhattan, because I swear, it's like, I never heard of these fucking people, like, a day in my fucking life, man. And then you think maybe these people are the ones that are writing this list, and they include themselves in it or something. But yeah, you got weird shit like Cope 2. I mean, he ran around with Purr a little bit, and they did some fill-ins, but I would never say that they were like the kings of all time or nothing like that. No, I wouldn't say that. Cess also with FX Crew. I mean, yeah, he does nice pieces. Like, let's leave it at that. What else did he do? Cess, FX. Got nothing about the guy. I know of him. I've met him many times. But yeah, no, it's bullshit, man. Cess, FX Crew. Like, honestly, what the fuck did he do? Ran around with Scene and did a couple of fill-ins along the highways here and there. That's about it. And Yes and them. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm well aware of that big, huge fucking thing. Cess, Yes, and Scene and them did, you know, in certain spots, these things were huge. They were using ladders and shit, filling them in with silver, big, like, pieces that were huge. But how long ago was that? And that was it. Like, it's not like they were running around smashing shit hard. Yeah, just weird people are on them lists. Days is another one. Days from Roosevelt Island. What the fuck did he ever do? Honestly. Think about it. What do you do? A couple of pieces with fucking Lady Pink in them and that's it? Like, really? I don't even remember seeing him up on the insides. He did a couple under the windows. Panels. He did like 4 or 5 panels. We'll call it that. Now, there's been a couple of top to bottoms. And I mean, he's been reputable in the Hall of Fame for a while. But I mean, we're talking about Old City, all-time legendary king. You get me? But you will not see RD357 on any of them fucking lists anywhere, man. That's funny. But, in a way, also you got to realize some of these people, it's hatred towards me. Or, I mean, I'm not going to sit here playing victim. I pretty much was a dick. Fucking, I abused so many people. I mean, we've left people, like, naked in the train tunnels. Like, I mean, naked, not even with their socks on their fucking feet. I remember one, yo, take your fucking pants off. One dude, he's a pudgy fella. Oh, what are you going to do to me? I'm John, give me that can of spray paint. You know? So, I held it like this. Take your fucking money. No! Like he thought, yeah, he was under the impression he was going to stick it up his ass or something. But I mean, we just wanted to take his fucking clothes, embarrass him, make him feel bad. He can't run out into the station yelling and screaming when he's fucking butt naked. Gives us time to escape through the hatch that way. You get me? It disorients the person, throws them off their game. It humbles them and makes it so they'll never come back in that place again. But there was no sexual involvement with the person or nothing like that. I'm not homosexual or nothing like that. But yeah, we did perceive that upon the person. Yeah, the dude looked like he was fucking done, man. He was done. Like, oh yeah, he was like fainting and shit, man. That was a wild one, man. It was. I almost think I wound up trying to help the poor guy. Like, but yeah, we left him butt naked. It didn't matter. But yeah, yeah, that was funny. There's a few times that we've done stuff like that. That particular thing, yeah, leaving them naked in the tunnel. I personally remember doing that. Once it was 2 guys at the same time. And then maybe 2 other times, 3 other times we've done that. So you figure 2 in one shot, and then maybe 3. So like 5 people we did that shit to. Left them butt naked in the fucking tunnel. Butt naked. Took everything. Their keys, their wallets, their underwear. Every fucking thing, man. Yeah. That was funny shit. Hell, actually on, I don't know the name of it, but the thing that got me started on this podcast, these guys from this neighborhood, it was me and Sammy. If you go back in my videos, if you look at my video, not my videos that I post on my podcast, but this videos of me and D3 sitting right here in this same fucking room. And he has a mask on because of the pandemic, and he has a Wild Style t-shirt on, and I have a Frankenstein t-shirt on. We're sitting there talking, and we actually talk, me and him both talk about leaving fucking this guy, Kid Capri, a rapper. Yeah, we left his ass butt naked in the middle of the meadow in Central Park, in the middle of the meadow in Central Park on like a Saturday or a Sunday afternoon, like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, in front of many people. Yeah, we had him stripping down. Then Otto and Miguel, OC and Miguel, They started fighting over his sneakers. One of them had one of his sneakers. The other one had the other sneaker. They started punching each other in the face and shit. Like, yo, yeah, crazy shit, man. A bunch of people there, man. We were robbing that motherfucker. We left his ass butt naked. Well, no, he was in his socks and his underwear. We left him in his underwear. But yeah, I remember someone was like, yo, is that a Le Tigre? But you gotta watch that. I gave that content to him, and I feel bad if, like I'm crossing tracks here with that. Which would actually lead me into my next topic. A lot of you guys enjoyed me walking around the street with the camcorder and showing you people the hatch. It goes under to Queens, under the East River. And I did a little walk along with the camera. And a lot of you guys liked it, and you said maybe I should continue doing that. And I don't want to do that. Like, I won't make it a main thing. Like, I'll make that graffiti Mythbusters. I'm going to make that shit a main thing. But as far as it goes with me walking around, I don't want to do that. And for the simple reason, you have a guy out there that does that. This guy, Graffiti Wanderer or some shit like that. Well, it is the Graffiti Wanderer. I just don't like the guy. And I don't want to make it like I'm stealing his ideas, or that's his little pond. Let him swim around that shit. I got everything right up here, man. I don't need none of that. But that's the only reason I don't want to do that. I feel as if I'm taking food off his plate, or I'm pissing in his yard. You get me, right? Like, I don't think that's cool. That's not a good move. It's not a good look for me. It's like copying what he does. Even though, like, I don't even think the dude ever wrote graffiti or anything. Maybe he has. But, yeah, I've had problems with him in the past, let's say. And, but not under the Graffiti Wanderer thing. It was more under the Fresh Paint. Yeah. I'll tell you, he posted a picture of my RD and lace on the 2s and 5s. It's when that movie, The Expendables, came out. Lace wrote The Expendables in a Z. Big, huge blockbusters. This guy had like a fancy drone or something like that, and was able to take pictures of it dead on. Or if not, he just ran down on the tracks. Maybe he's got balls like that. I don't know. But yeah, he got really nice pictures of it, so I posted them on my Instagram. He's like, yo, come on, man, you don't give me fucking credit or something. So yeah, I was like, fuck you, man. Don't ever post my shit again. That was pretty much the end of that. Yeah. But that's why, not because of that, I don't want to do this whole thing with tours, graffiti tours. I just feel like I would be infringing on his little gimmick that he's got going on. And then you got so many other people that are doing it anyway, and they're all just walking around showing people fucking legal walls. Like, it's, why call it graffiti at all? Just call it like murals, like a tour on New York City murals. Like every single fucking thing, it's all perfectly legal, to the point where most of them people probably actually received money for the damages they've done to those buildings. It's not like they damaged the building, it's more like they got paid to damage the fucking things, and like 85, 90, 100% of the times. Yeah, all those murals and all that shit, it's all legal. It sucks, so they use all types of tricks and stuff. And I don't want to do that. I will post videos here and there, maybe throughout the year, maybe 3 or 4 of them. Just here I'm sitting on a bench I used to hang out on, or over here I got beat up or something like that. Maybe I'll video it, but it's not going to be an ongoing thing like every single, like weekly or nothing like that. So, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I also got some interesting things. This guy Chris about when I went to Rikers Island for the one time and only time. Yeah, he got in touch with that. Yeah, he was putting on some funny stuff about Kid 1 throwing a garbage can. I didn't even know about that stuff, but Kid 1 threw a garbage can through J.A.'s window down in the village. It was a car, apparently. It was a red Honda. The comment, it's in one of the things down there somewhere, Led Zeppelin. And I don't know, Kid 1 got locked up for the shit. Why up at Rikers Island? I don't think J.A. told on him or anything. I don't know, I didn't get the whole story, but yeah, he was out there. He was bringing me back to some memories, man. And now, good looking out, Chris. Been a while, man. Been a long time. Been decades, man. Yeah. I guess since you're watching it, because you commented and you liked a bunch of my things. And I see you out there, man. We had some fucking wild times and shit, yeah. So shout out to my man Led Zepp, Chris. Alright, now a few of you guys were asking me about Splasher. I'll use the term Splasher instead of his actual real name. Because, yeah, last I heard from him, maybe 30 years ago, he was on death row in California. Apparently, he became a serial killer. He's running around killing men. I don't know what the story was behind that. He's probably executed by now. That was like 30-something years ago. My mother was telling me that. I saw his father after that a few times, but what am I going to do? Walk up to him and ask him if they executed his son yet? You know, so I don't know. But yeah, that's my brother's friend. I mean, I've hung out with them. Yeah, those guys. Yeah, they were into some real wild shit, man. They were bugging out. Yeah, that's from my brother when he used to work on 42nd Street. Yeah, Jay the cop, who was actually a cop that worked on 42nd Street also. But he worked as a police officer, and my brother used to work as, he was working in token, where you put the tokens in, you watch these women do all these crazy shit, like these booths, the X-rated movies in them, and you put the coins in. Yeah, back in the 80s, I believe in my heart and my soul, that's when my brother took a turn to the fucking worst, man. I mean, you gotta realize he was there over, like, at night until the sun comes up, like, 17, 18, 19 years old he was doing that shit. I used to bring him food. And yeah, he'd be working in them places, like beating people up, throwing people out, people be getting their faces ripped open. I mean, that's the era of the crack smile, man. Yeah, that's right around when crack hit. Boom, even a little before crack hit in the streets. Yeah, so you got to realize day after day dealing with so much violence. I mean, honestly, yo, 42nd Street, Times Square, a lot of people like, yo, bring that shit back, and yo, I miss the days. You missed the fucking days because you weren't there like that, yo. Believe me, man, there's nothing I miss about that fucking place at all. Yeah, nah, fuck that. I mean, some asshole could say that shit that's coming from like Pennsylvania or Ohio. He goes down there, gets his dick sucked real quick, makes a couple of hits of crack, and he hops back on a bus to fucking Pennsylvania or something. But nah, man, in New York, man, nah, that was some sick shit down there, man. Believe me, yeah, when you see that shit like that, and I mean, yeah, no, that was wild, man. Right there, you had the Port Authority. Like, they'd get little runaway girls right off there, get them addicted to fucking heroin, and before you know it, they're porn stars and, like, prostitutes. And, yeah, no, that was some scummy shit. The only thing you could benefit from that fucking place back then was maybe you could buy some Chinese stars and some switchblades and shit like that from some of the novelty shops out there. But other than that, it was pure evil, man, believe me. My brother, like, yeah, he was never the same after working there. He worked there, and yeah, he was like one of the head dudes. Like, he rotated throughout all them fucking places. Just put it this way: if you were down in 42nd Street from like 1980 to like 1985, 1986, and you were paying tokens to go see them fucking women jump around and jiggle around and stick the phones in their asses and shit like that, and you paid money for that, chances are you handed my brother money, and he handed you tokens. Yeah, you had Big Ralphie up there. I was talking about him too. All them dudes, very big, powerful, strong, no joke playing motherfuckers. If anything, my brother was probably the slenderest out of all of them, as far as it goes with not being a bodybuilder or anything like that. I mean, he lifted weights as far as it goes with power, but yeah, the rest of them were big motherfuckers, man. Yeah, and yeah, nah, that shit, that changed my brother. Yeah, that's when my brother became like, yeah, wild. That's early on. I believe that's where his path, if he would have avoided that, chances things could have been different for him in life. But that's all I could say about that. Yeah, you guys mentioned Splasher. Alright, it used to be Splasher, which was Jimmy. Then you had Angel Aracho, which was, I believe he won Mr. New York. He was a bodybuilder from the Lower East Side. A lot of you guys might remember him. Shout out. He used to look like Jimmy Superfly Snooker. He had long hair here, always wore a little bandana. He used to actually work as the security guard in the Forbidden Planet comic book shop on 59th Street between 2nd and 3rd Avenue. The Forbidden Planet. He was that big muscular dude. Always wore the army pants and the weightlifting belt. Yeah, he looked like Conan. Yeah. Angel Aracho. He died. Jay the Cop. I remember him, he got caught up in that precinct thing when they swept through that precinct. I think it was the one up in Washington Heights. I saw his name and his picture in the newspaper. He was one of them dirty cops who was fucking around with them Dominican dudes up in the fucking up the Upper West Side there, up around Washington Heights area. Yeah, he was caught up in that. What was it, like 30-something cops or something like that? They were running around robbing drug dealers, selling drugs, killing people for other drug dealers and shit. These police officers, it's an old case. It's early on. This is before that Dow guy and all them other guys that committed crimes. This is before they raided Brooklyn, I believe, either. Also, because there's a big case with Brooklyn, they did the same thing. Anyway, Jay the Cop, I don't want to put his real name out there, but yeah, he got caught up in that shit. I think he's actually out now. I didn't think he got out, but yeah, he was a good dude. He used to work on 42, Times Square. And I've robbed with him. I've stole a lot of shit with him. He actually, I was young. I'd say he's the one that taught me how to rob drug dealers. Yeah. But I can remember one particular time, all these guys, like I said, they were big, taking steroids. And they would all work out in Mid-City Gym. So they schemed on this guy that was selling steroids, anabolic steroids. Dianabol was the name of the drug that they would take. Dianabol. And the guy would put it in his locker to sell it to one guy, Jay the Cop, I don't want to use his real name. And he would be in there, and they would go in the gym, and they'd start working out. Now, all the steroids were in the locker. I was about 13, 14 years old. I had a pair of small bolt cutters wrapped up in a fucking towel. While they went to work out, I clipped the lock off the fucking locker. I saw what locker they put it in. I'm hanging out there, drying myself. I'm naked, pretty much, with a towel around my fucking waist in the men's room, just waiting for them to finish up and see what locker they actually used. Once they're finished, I took the bolt cutters. I had it wrapped up in my towel, stuck it in a locker, took it out the locker. Once they went to do their workout, went in there, stole the fucking steroids. Put them in a different locker. Jay the Cop, he had the key to the other locker. All I did was clip it, take them out of one locker, place them a couple of lockers down, put a padlock on it that he already had the key to. So now he had a bunch of steroids. I got paid a couple $100s for doing that. Now, in scheming and planning on that whole thing, he's like, yo, Rob, he's, like I said, these are friends of my brother's from 42nd Street. He's like, yo, this is how it goes. You're an innocent little kid. You're in there just coming from the swimming pool, or you're going to do some weightlifting or whatever, you know. If he catches you for some God forbid reason, he happens to come back into the locker room and sees you actually cutting the lock off, or if you're actually in possession of these steroids, putting them in a different locker, he said, I'll turn around and arrest the guy for selling steroids to a minor. That's what he said. He's like, so you can't get in trouble. You won't get caught. He's like, I'll just turn around and act like he is selling you these steroids. Yeah, sure, sounds cool. It worked like a plan, yeah. But yeah, we did a lot of shit with him. And like I said later on, he wound up getting caught up in that thing up in Washington Heights. I saw his name and his face in the paper many years later. Jimmy, like I said, Splasher, Death Row, California, about 30 years ago. Angel Aracho died of a heart attack, Lower East Side. My brother, you all know, he's up in prison till about 2039. He gets possibly released on parole, but I don't know how that's going to work, if he even makes it. Who else? Herman. There was a guy, Herman, and he continued on. He had children. He got a good, steady job. He continued bodybuilding and grew old. Yeah. He's the only one that had no problems. And he wasn't really out there like that. But yeah, these dudes they were all bodybuilders way before bodybuilding was bodybuilding. You know, this is like, I remember asking him about, what the fuck is this Dianabol, like the steroid and shit. I remember my brother telling me, no, it wasn't my brother, it was actually Jimmy Splasher. He's like, Dianabol is taken from apes, testosterone. They take it out the balls of an ape. And they're like, you ever see Tom Platz? Tom Platz is a bodybuilder, you could Google him. Blonde hair. This is when he was kind of up there and coming. The years he was bodybuilding. I say, look at Tom Platz, look at his jaws. He's turning into a gorilla. That's from all the fucking Dianabol he's injecting in his ass and this and that. It starts to make you like a gorilla and shit. I used to wonder. I was like 14 years old, 15. Like, the fuck you want to look like a gorilla for? I mean, that was always my thought. I don't know. They were all playing around with that shit. I never really saw my brother messing around with it, and like I said, he would sleep in the same bed right next to me. You know, he'd be in a bed there. I never saw him. If I'm 15, he's 18. I never really saw him gain any serious muscular weight or anything like that. And involvement with the steroids, I believe he never fucked with them. Or if he did it wrong, because I don't ever remember him really puffing up off them. I remember when he came out of jail from his first bid, he was big. He had these little plaques of powerlifting, 198 pounds. That's when he hooked up with Antonio Calif, who was another powerlifter. He was actually a powerlifter. He was in the Olympics. And he died in a car accident, I believe, in Detroit a couple of years ago. He was big. He was like in the Olympics. I mean, they actually got kicked off the Olympics because of steroid use. But yeah, he was a good dude, man. He used to work out also in Mid-City Gym. Big, powerful dude, man. Big, you know, big belly, but it wasn't about bodybuilding, like having abs and looking all fancy. That fucking dude was lifting weight, man. You know, yeah, he was a power lifter, a whole different animal. Not none of that pretty boy shit, yeah. But yeah, 42nd Street, Times Square, back in the days, I believe that was the thing that fucked my brother up from jump. But yeah, I remember all them people that you guys are talking about. Ralphie, yeah, I used to say Ralphie looked like Sergio fucking Olivia. You know, Sergio Olivia that used to go up against Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah, yeah, Ralphie was a big old motherfucking dude, man. Jimmy too, Slasher, he was a big old dude, man, big old white boy. Yeah. Yeah, he was like my height, maybe 50 pounds, 40 pounds bigger, thicker, big muscle. And this is before all that shit. Now you walk down the street, you see people. Like Arnold was really like a fascination, you know, Lou Ferrigno and them back then. Nowadays, hell, I got people working my building that are bigger than Arnold. Like honestly, that work in the Department of Health and shit where I work. There's people that lift weights at one point that were in there that were like that. Like now, your average Joe can reach that. You know, it's just evolution and knowledge and science and nutrition and all that, you know. But yeah, that game too has came up too, just like I was talking about the exotic pet trade has come up. But yeah, that's early on shit. I've seen that evolve a lot. I myself was never into bodybuilding. I would like to think of the thought of powerlifting. I'm always interested in moving heavy weight. That seemed to appeal to me. I've done that, but never to the level of anything fancy or doing any competitions or anything like that. And when I got married, my wife was into exercise and fitness and running a lot, and I ran a lot with her. And I kind of been exercising since then, like since what, 94, 90, from 91, 92, 93, 94. Yeah, on and off from like 94 on. Plus, when I was in high school, I was on a track team, the South Bronx High School. And what else? Yeah, so yeah, I've always been interested in exercise, but I do it more or less just to keep my body oiled up at this point. Just keep me sharp and on my toes, you know. You start getting old, like I've explained in my past podcasts. The lights changing, you run across the street. You can tear your fucking Achilles heel just from turning into a sprint, yeah. You start getting in your mid-50s, you don't stretch, and you just start running across the street. It's happened to me. It's actually happened to me, yeah. I was fucked up for like a year. That exact same thing, man. I was running across the street from Chipotle, 33rd Street, 2nd Avenue. So I just heard like, and it just felt like someone injected me with hot boiling water. I'm like, yo, what the fuck was that? And yeah, I tore my Achilles tendon. Yeah, just like that. Nothing fancy. Yeah. All right, what do we talk about now? Graffiti busters, graffiti myth busters. Yes, I knew Slasher. Alright. Yeah, you know, I could get a little bit more on this tunnel thing. Yeah, Lace had brought it to my attention that I was wrong about Roosevelt Island. You know, Lace, I see him all the time. He was over here and I was explaining it to him. He's like, no, Robert, in Roosevelt Island, on the Queens side, there's like 3 steps with a platform, and then it's a ladder that goes up, and then once it gets up there, it turns into a staircase. But when they built the tramway in like 1976, 77, I remember when there was no tramway that went to Roosevelt Island. I remember before that thing existed. I was a child, but I remember. And they built the tramway, so now that spiral, that staircase opens right up into the engine room of the tramway, where they got the big wheels and shit. So technically, you don't really have access to it. You know, it's like, I guess if something happened down there, they would radio them and open it up. But yeah, you're inside where you're not allowed to go, or you can't go. It's inside the motor room of the tramway is where that door pops up at. And the thing at the end, someone had mentioned to me, oh no, there's a hatch over behind the tramway. No, that's not a hatch. I'm aware of that. I went out with several girls. One particular girl, I would jog around the whole Roosevelt Island while she rode on rollerblades. Her name was Alexandra. And I would jog around, and I've seen that thing there. It's a square cement thing. You lift it up. You know what's inside there? A meter with a way for you to hook on oil, to like an oil truck, to fill oil, possibly into the tramway. It's the only building there, but yeah, that is for the building to get oil, for heating or oil, maybe to oil the wheels, whatever. You know, and you fill up, you get the oil truck that comes out, like the Hess oil truck. Yeah, that's what's under that fucking thing. I've opened it. I know that for a fact. I thought the same thing, like, oh shit. Believe me, like I've said, I've tried, I've thought about everything. About getting that tunnel, and I've explained also that it's my home stop. That has been my home stop for 50 years. Like, give or take a couple of years, I moved out of the neighborhood or something, but my mother always lived there for like the straight 50 fucking years. That's my home stop. It's my home stop today. Right now, today. It's the station I go to every fucking time I want to get on the subway. Every other station leading into that station I got. Why not that one? Because it's not happening. You get me? Yeah. So I lived there and been traveling through there for over 50 fucking years. And no, there is no graffiti, no Smith, no Sane under the East River. No, it's not there. Believe me, I know. I've sat and tried to hatch and plot and scheme and get down there. I was thinking down every road you could possibly think about. Sick passengers, train delays, everything I could possibly think of. I thought of running behind the train, taking a bicycle and riding behind the fucking train so you could get in there. But the trains come every 20 minutes late at night. I could run across the 59th Street Bridge in less than 20 minutes. But that's running. Like, when you're going to stop and do tags. You got me? So, yeah, it's tricky. Like, unless you could run real quick and tag real quick, you're fucked. It's not going to happen. Unless someone, like, it's funny, because during this pandemic that just passed, everyone and their mother wrote on the stupidest fucking shit ever. Like, the stupidest shit you would fucking write on. Instead of just hopping down there and tearing that shit up, man. I'm happy they didn't, that no one did, because I would have probably felt bad. I would have been like, them motherfuckers. They took my idea. I myself would have done it. I actually sat there thinking about it. I've actually had the conversation with Lace about it. Like, if only I didn't get arrested, and I'd be down there doing that tunnel under the river. Lace is like, but I didn't get arrested. Yeah, I remember that shit. I'm like, yo, go ahead, man. I was even telling him, like, I'll go with you if you want. He said, what are you going to go not hit up tags? I'm like, he said, you know that shit ain't going to happen, man. You ain't going to go down there and not hit up tags. And I was like, I don't know, man. But yeah, I'm dead serious. And even during the pandemic, that would have been the chance to get it. Like I said, you could always like have a train delay in the station, or a sick passenger aboard a train. You could have a false situation like that. But yeah, other than that, man, and even with that, how long can you possibly hold that off for? Until they take the sick passenger out. It never happened. And then someone else starts saying, oh, well, I think Bruce, and then no one. It did not happen. Just stop it. It's not enough. It didn't. Before I even posted that video, I went through both sides 4 times. Because I went through going to the Queensboro Plaza from my home station, 59th Street, I went through looking out the left window. Boom, to Queens. Then I went from Queens, looking out the left window to Manhattan. Then I got back on the Queens one, went back to Queens, looking out the right window. And then I was in Queens, coming back to Manhattan, looking out the right window. And nobody is up down there. I even tried the video. If you actually really listen to that video, I say, I'm going to put some video footage on. I'm going to ride through the tunnel. I actually did ride through, like I said, with the camera and the train, but it was just a blur. Like, the camera didn't pick it up like my eyes could see, but the camera, it was just blurry. The lights and everything, yeah, you couldn't see none. It just looked like the train wasn't moving at all, honestly, except for a couple of little flicks. But it would not show what I'm trying to say. So I didn't bother posting it. But yeah, before I would, you got to realize to yourselves, people, I've sat here for a whole year telling you people about all my ins and outs of graffiti, and there's so much more, but I've sat here for a whole year and a few days now telling you all this shit. Now, every single human being I've mentioned, except for a couple didn't, but just about everyone I've mentioned in here has gotten back in touch with me. Min's son got in touch with me. It was good to hear that they're chilling and all. Breyer on a different podcast, he talks about the time we pulled out. Every single person except for Cost. Cost didn't get in touch with me, but I haven't heard from Cost since 2007. It's not like we're in cahoots or anything like that. But Coke 2 has gotten in touch with me. He's like, see, I told you this, that. Dessa, this guy Dessa, has even wrote me like a fucking love letter, for Christ's sake. It was like one of the longest fucking messages I ever received in my life, man. And I got people trying to be real detailish with me, but yeah, and I like, what I'm trying to say is, even this guy Niso that I was talking about, how he was tearing up the train tunnels and how he's very underrated and this and that, which is so true. I was in the scrapyard, this graffiti store downtown, and as I'm seeing him, he's actually watching the video. He's like, yo, someone just sent me this shit, you know, and he's looking at it, and to be truthful, you know, he's like, yo, someone just sent me this shit, and here you are and shit, you know, and I'm like, wow, like, yeah, so every single time I even mention someone, someone runs off and tells that person. So now, with that said, I have spent hours, possibly at this point you could say weeks, this whole year and a couple of days of me sitting here in front of this podcast talking. Do you think I'm going to throw all that shit away and make up some lie that Smith and Sane never actually wrote under the fucking Queensboro Bridge, under the Queensboro, the river that goes to Queensboro Plaza? Do you honestly think I'm going to sit here and give up all this shit just to, like, prove them wrong or something like that? Like, you're bugging, man. Like, I'm dead serious. There's no graffiti under the East River, whether it's Joe Blow from fucking Idaho or Santa Claus's uncle, man. There ain't nothing fucking down there, man. Nah. Hey, bottom line. And it's frustrating to me because, yo, I've schemed on that shit, man. How does that look on me? How does that look to me? Think about it. My home station, I can't get that shit. Yeah? No, it's a touchy situation for me. Yeah, you're fucking with my pride with that shit. But no, there is fucking nobody up, down there. I don't know how else to put it, man. You know, maybe a fucking construction worker wrote with a ballpoint pen on a fucking piece of metal or something down there when he's taking a piss. But other than that, there is no fucking graffiti, to put it. My home fucking station. Never happened. And like I said, I've really been out here. I've been talking and talking and talking. Nobody. Like I said, every single human being I've mentioned, someone went back to them and told them, yo, Robert, RD said this and that. Is it true? Like, trying to blow me up and trying to see if I'm speaking the truth. And every single person, they're just quiet. Or if not, they're like, oh, shit, yo, for real, man. Yeah, that's true, man. RD did that shit. Yo, shit, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's the way it is. I'm not sitting here like that. You think I'm going to sit here like, why would I do that? Sit here like an idiot or something? Like, come up with some stupid shit? Like, nah, that ain't me. But yeah, there is no graffiti under there. If you don't believe me, go look, man. Alright, man. Peace. Alright. So I watched through the video, and I figured out the documentary guy. It's JWF Documentaries. The thing I'm talking about with Kid Capri, with me and D3, because like I said, I don't want to use content I've actually talked about before. But that's it. Yeah, it's when we talk about Kid Capri and the Meadow in Central Park. JWF Documentaries. So when I'll put this thing on so you can see it. You know, like I just explained, I sat down here, and he's kind of the guy that got me started on this whole podcast thing. You guys could thank him for that. Maybe follow him. Alright. There's that. And then, yeah, with the SP1 thing, like I said, the guy did nothing. Maybe a couple of legal spots that you're legally allowed to do, and most of the shit I actually see, like, is on paper. It's like something he did, like, on a paper, like, yeah. So apparently he's legendary, all-time king of New York. Yeah, it's like craziest fucking people. You gotta look through that list, and you gotta wonder why I'm not on it. I guess you don't got to wonder, I do. It's my problem, right? But it's interesting. So yeah, we could definitely gonna do some fucking graffiti busting Monday. Mythbusters Monday. Graffiti Mythbusters Monday. There we go. I smoked a little weed, you know. She got me, you know. Also, I was thinking about what I was saying about Times Square, 42nd Street, the Deuce. Yeah, I figured out a way I could word that place perfectly during the 80s, especially the early 80s, when crack hit the streets and people didn't know what they were in store for, and crack was out there and they didn't know what that shit was and how they were going to respond to it. People weren't used to fiending at that point. I would say, I would describe 42nd Street, Times Square, the Deuce. That shit was like Rikers Island with strippers. Yeah, that's the best way to put it. Rikers Island with strippers and fucking whores jumping around also. Like you always grimy ass motherfuckers, man, slicing each other up, beating the shit out of each other, shootings, everything, every fucking night, man. And you had the whores, and the sluts, the prostitutes, the drug addicts, yeah. So yeah, it's just like Rikers Island with female strippers and shit running around. The busted up, ugly looking ones, man, that weigh like 40, 50 pounds, 60 pounds, like real skinny, scabby, like drug addict. Well, I actually met a couple nice girls down there, and the girls that actually danced and were in the boots, and they'd be like sticking the phone in their pussy. You could go on the phone, tell them, yeah, take that phone, stick it in that ass, yeah. You know, that's what you would do. You would actually pick up a phone, and then they would sit in front, and you would actually tell them what to do. I remember seeing some crazy fucking videos. My brother was like, yo, they just got this new shit in, man, check this shit out. And, you know, he'd give me a couple of coins, I'd go in, wow. I mean, just imagine working around that environment for so long, man. That shit fucked his head up. I mean, you're busting doors, people ain't coming in. And during the crack epidemic, man, Jesus Christ, people would go in there, put a token in there, and just smoke crack. And he would have to kick them out. People would be jerking off, and people chopping each other up, slicing each other up, shooting each other. Yeah, it was fucking insane, man. Yeah, that shit was Rikers Island with some strippers. Yeah, fuck that, man. I don't know anyone. I don't know. Like, yeah, I guess the side of it that we were on, yeah, you don't want that shit back there. Nah, man. I don't know if I like what's going on there now, but there's a fair medium in between somewhere, man. But nah, yeah. Alright, y'all are bugging. You want that shit back.